So he flipped it on me. He said, okay, if you don't want to go in there, I understand, you getting immune to this. He said, but you can't ask your soldiers to go in there as well. And so it was at that time that I realized that I had to continue to march on in spite of my personal feelings about the situation. And so you dealing with death every week and the community dealing with death on the regular, we could get caught up into, death being business as usual. Yeah. But how do you tell that son? How do you tell that daughter? How do you tell that mother? How do you tell that father that, their child or their parent dying is business as usual? They don't want to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. And man, I mean, this subject right here near and dear to my heart, right? So I could talk about this all day.
Right.
And a lot of people shying away from talking about that. Mm-hmm. But to me, death is part of life.
Well, the reason I want to talk about it, Sean, and I'm going to hand it right back to you, is because I feel like all this gun violence and all this stuff that's going on across the country, nobody has a sense of urgency. I'm not going to say nobody, but not enough of us have a sense of urgency to try to curb some of this gun violence, to try to deal with the root issues. Now, we're good at dealing with the symptoms, but I'm talking about the root of the matter. I think we need all hands on deck, and I don't think we have that. So a lot of people, it's just next slide. In the Army, when you was briefing, after you get through, the colonel say next slide, which means next. What's going on next? And such died. Okay, what's next? Okay, such died. R.I.P. We do that, and it becomes a vicious cycle.
I think the topic is so broad and so complex to where is the solution?
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I had a show I talked about it maybe a few weeks ago. Is how in leadership we got the fifth string players playing now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we done wore out the first string. Mm-hmm. And so when we're dealing with, when you're on say a micro level and you're dealing with policies up top and say DC, that's going to be a policy that's for the whole country. Mm-hmm. Well, those folks aren't thinking outside of the box enough to be able to create a policy, because they got, and you preached it today, their motives are not pure, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not setting up a policy to relieve you from the pressures and stuff from the possibility of your kid getting killed. Mm-hmm. They setting up possibly because they getting money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And so now we talking about motives.
Yeah, so the motives ain't pure, So when you talk about gun control, okay, well, if the gun lobbyists are the ones that's getting the most money to the campaign, do you think I'm gonna really push gun control? Okay, and so nobody's there to push the envelope and say, no, man, no, that shouldn't be happening. And so, and then when you deal with the stuff, because everybody got this, we're in a capitalistic society, so we both doing the financial literacy learning, blah 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 blah, and so we're starting to find out a little bit more as we learn, right?
Yes, sir.
And so we're in a capitalistic society. What capitalistic society means, I win, you lose.
Right.
So many of us on the losing end of the stick, because the 1% is setting it up to win. So when you look at it, or we put it into on a Sunday, so and your pastor, so let's put it into a gospel perspective. We're in the gospel perspective, we'll say the devil is here to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yes, sir.
Well, he's on his job.
Right.
He's doing his job.
That's what he's doing.
He's doing his job. Right. We're not doing our job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? Because I mean, when you get ready to go to war, you train for war. Well, a lot of us ain't trained for nothing. So how do you defend yourself? It's like getting stowed on every day, and your hands tied. You literally getting stowed on every day. Every day, all day long, and you don't. And then it's a sad thing to know, because you're not looking in the mirror, that you're getting beat up, and you don't even know you're getting beat up. I remember going over. I was just listening to some stuff about the banking, right? Banking. And I was talking to you, and I was telling you about the Rule of 72. And so I was listening to the ladies at this program, this Zoom that they had the other day, and she was talking about make your money, make money. You know, they talk about the bank. You know, they was pretty good. So I ain't gonna knock them. You know, I might have to go down there and ask them people for some help or something. But I ain't gonna knock them too hard. But they were saying make your money, make money, and that sounds good to the average customer. But to the people that know the information, at 0.01%, it's gonna take you $72,000 to turn $1 into $2 at that percentage rate. That's because we know the information. Information controls the conversation, the expectations, and everything. If you know information, but we just don't know. We don't
My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge.
We don't know nothing.
And so, me being a new pastor in the community, I never pastored a church before, but I've pastored pretty much everything else, businesses. And I've been running a bootleg church out my shop for years. But when I look at it from a pastor's, a spiritual perspective, we need a lot more soul food. And so we need a lot more soul. I think the Bible says you should be on meat, but you still on milk. And I think across the board that we have so many people in various positions that should be on meat, but they still on milk. And rather than knocking them and putting them down, we need to collectively use each other's strengths and come together and help one another. Those are for the ones who won't want to. Some people don't want. Some people, they motives is they motives, and that's what they're doing, and they don't want change. They're doing exactly what the devil got them doing, and they're glad. But there's some people that just don't know, you know. And one of the things that I said I was going to do, especially lead my people, is I'm not going to apologize for what I know. I'm not going to apologize because I was in the Army 20 years and I know leadership like the back of my hand, and you're in a leadership position, but you don't know it. Now, there's a way that I can convey the message to you where it can be a blessing to the kingdom. I talked a lot. I went way over. Me and my wife, shout out to Neal Street Blues. There was a young lady there handing out $5 to all the kids. But I was discussing with my wife, when I looked at my time, I went 30 minutes over normal. And she said, well, it didn't seem like it because, you know, everybody was engaged, but that's way too long. But the kingdom message is where I think we're lacking at. We're looking at things at the city level or at the state level, at the country level. But God is calling us as leaders and preachers to look at this thing from a kingdom perspective. And when you look at it from a kingdom perspective, you understand that you got to pass the baton. You know, you can't wait till you're on your deathbed to pass the baton. You got to pass the baton 15 to 20 years early. And then you sit back and just guide. And so I often, I had 49 soldiers, responsible for 49 soldiers in Iraq. And if I'd have fell dead, I'd have had at least 10 or 15 sergeants arguing over who was going to take my place because they were all competent. I made sure every day or every week I showed a different one. So I knew it was diverse, and I knew that they would be able to help each other because I went on convoys when I didn't have to. The convoys was the most dangerous thing over there for us because we were at a hospital, and as long as you was in the hospital, you was halfway safe. You know, they mortared the hospital a couple of times, but you pretty much safe as long as you didn't go out the compound. And so, but we need to be more kingdom. I know you love Miles Monroe, and that's one of the things that he talked about was being kingdom minded. And so kingdom minded, kingdom minded, and I talked about this in my message. Why can't I have my own school? Why do I have to go to your school? Why can't I have a school and control my narrative? And so, but some people think that, oh no, we got to go to their school. Well, why we got to go to their school? Why we can't have our own and control our own narrative? And that's what God has put on my heart, is to be more kingdom minded. But kingdom minded also understands that we all fall short of the glory. And you have to look behind a person's fault and see their need, no matter who they are. And First Corinthians 9th chapter, Paul talked a lot about that, and that's what we deal with today at church. And the Message Bible names some messed up people that Paul was able to deal with, that some of us who are not kingdom minded wouldn't go nowhere near them. You know, it's kind of hard for you to teach a student if you're scared of it.
You know, you covered a lot of ground. You covered a lot of ground. But one of the things I'm going to hit you with is leadership, right? We got a major problem with leadership, and then when leadership scars us, then we have an even harder part. We're trying to deal with a new leader,
Right?
because we've been burnt.
Right.
Before.
That's right.
Okay. And so now we working on the island by ourselves because we don't want to go down that road no more. So I think leadership, especially for African American people throughout the country, has let the African American community down.
We got some open churches now that's in that
position.
That's a great example.
And it scarred a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of investment. I mean, a lot of history that went down too. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think that any celebration should be going on. Pretty much a lot of celebration should be going on because of the fact we have so many unaddressed issues and so many people out here hurt. I think instead of spending the time for the celebration, let's spend more time learning so that we can fix we can fix what's sort of been messed up. And so I think that and the views and opinions expressed here, those of the speaker do not necessarily represent those of WFT's Board of Directors, Station Manager, or Prayer Incorporated. Let's get that out the door.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But me personally, I think that the Bible, God gives the messaging of kingdom and what kingdom building looks like to the church. The church's role is to teach the family. The family is supposed to exist because God said he did not bring us here to be alone. So a husband and a wife, which makes a child. So if the church is dropping the ball or they didn't change God's message to fit their messaging, then that confuses the family system, right? And so the child's all messed up. So then and a lot of us grew up off lies, off phobias, off superstitions and stuff like that for fear, because fear is what the devil used to govern us. Fear stop you from doing all kinds of stuff. Fear take you from not even getting a promotion. I don't even want a promotion because I seen what happened to the last supervisor. Oh, I don't want salary. I remember when I started to get into insurance, and it was commission based, and I had somebody that I respected. I think it was my mama or somebody that I respected and said, "Oh, you don't want that commission job." Because that commission job, you need to set check. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when I got to doing and I got the feeling for commission, you get paid upon work.
Yeah.
If you put work in, you get paid upon according to the work that you put in.
There ain't nothing average about you.
And it ain't no limits.
Yeah.
So it ain't no ceiling. See what I'm saying? Oh, you can pay me commission. I mean, I get to put this work in. See, and it scares us from going and getting in those positions.
Before you get too far along, let me put some Bible on what you said about the church and the parents and the kids. Real quick, you taught me this. Ye are the salt of the earth. The salt denotes influence. But if the salt has lost its savior, wherewith shall it be salted? It is then for good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden underfoot of men. So what you said is, if you, the church, and you not influencing the parents, and the parents not influence the kids, the Bible says we good for nothing but to be cast down and trodden on of men, for the men.
You know, this the way I look at it in my lens,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You could be a great person with a whole lot of education
Mm-hmm.
and a whole bunch of things. But if you make no contribution,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not making any type of contribution,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has some type of contribution that they should contribute to society.
Yes, sir.
I think.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But a lot of us sleep
At the wheel.
at the wheel. A lot of us sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of leadership is sleep. So now you're building more people that are asleep. I call it the dead man walking,
Mm-hmm.
dead woman walking.
Mm-hmm.
Because now if all I keep talking about is I can't wait to get to heaven, and that ain't even what biblically right.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
I can't
sir.
wait. Then what? You not doing anything. I'm just waiting on God,
Mm-hmm.
and God waiting on you.
And God waiting on you. And that's what you were saying about the people who don't want commission. They just waiting on the check for their 40 hours. They ain't even trying to think outside of the 40 hours.
And the reason why you're so frustrated because you're not working within your gift.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your gift. The Bible talks about work,
Mm-hmm.
but when he says work, he doesn't talk about you being a slave to somebody else. He
Mm-hmm.
talks about you work within your gift.
Because your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men.
That's the reason why you ain't before no great men, because you're not working in line with your gift. You just went and got a job somewhere. You went and signed up, and I'm not knocking you for going to get a job. Let's get that straight, because people will get you screwed. You know, I'm not knocking you because I was there. But what you doing, because I just ran to the dude. He created something on the job. So head office want to bring him in, man. We make you the supervisor, man. This dude thinking outside the box. He's making us better. He getting us more money. So, but they didn't want to give him no more money. He's like, man, well, I mean, if I'm gonna be supervisor, give me more money, right? He didn't want to pay him what he worked. And I was explaining to him is that really what they was telling you, I don't care what your talent is.
Right.
On this plantation, this is as much as we pay these slaves.
That's right. That's right.
You know, and the thing for it is we fall for the banana and the tailpipe and to promote that. But when somebody starts to create their own business, then we start knocking that. Because we ought to be pushing that, because that's a sign of freedom and hope. It's a sign of freedom and hope in our community. It's economic development.
Yes, sir.
And that was the first thing that I went in with the University of Illinois meeting was talking about yesterday. It's economic development.
Yeah.
What is your contribution to the growth of Champaign-Urbana community?
Right.
We should not be just looking at your university and only value we look at the university for is to get a job. And then the ones that get a job, the blacks that do get a job over there, don't want too many more blacks on the job, but they want to be the only ones living high on the hall, so to speak. That's crazy. And so many times we see it in non-for-profit organizations where they give you a half a slice of pie. And we fight over the half a slice of pie. When back in the back there, they got a pie factory. But they throw us one little slices of pie, and we fight and argue about it and fall out with each other and mad with each other. Over crumbs, man. And see, and that's when, and it be leadership, and it be biblical leadership.
I'm not gonna mention no names, but I met with a person that wanted to help not on my watch, and they had their checkbook, and they got money. But the money he was talking about was an insult to me. But I don't want to tell him it's an insult, because now I'm going to look ungrateful. But the money you want to offer me ain't got nothing. It wouldn't move my vision 1/10 of a point. Now, someone, well, you got to be, he giving you something, you ought to take it. I sent the message loud and clear. I don't need your money. Let me get your influence. Teach me Is this building worth me buying or not? Should I build? Let me use your staff for a day. You really help me. Let me use your staff today. Teach me how to fish. You got millions and billions. Teach me how to use my gift to be a benefit to my not-for-profit. But don't come handing me no crumbs.
Right.
I don't want to seem ungrateful, but I'm not looking for your crumbs.
Right.
First of all, God, this is God's vision, so He gonna give provision. So the fact that you insulted me by trying to give me some crumbs is out of bounds. But some people might argue. You know, one of my friends said, "Well, you should have took that and put it on the vision." Well, maybe I should have, but I didn't. I clearly let him know that I don't want your fish. I want you to teach me how to fish.
Right.
And
right.
so you have to lean and depend on God. Let me change that. I have to lean and depend on God because God gave me a vision. And I don't think God would give me the vision without provision because it's His vision.
You know, when I talked about leadership and just twisting the assignment that God has already mandated for us to do, to go, not to stay. And so, and even as I listened to somebody earlier today speak, right, when they kind of went off to talk about you going to see somebody else and listen to another pastor or something like this and listen to somebody else preach and not at your own church. It kind of just threw me off because then I knew he didn't know.
Right.
Just because you got the mic don't mean that I'm falling for you.
Right.
I ain't going from banana until.
Right.
I've been in church too long. I told my girl this. I told my wife this morning. I mean, you can get by with that with the infantile saint.
Yeah, the one that's on milk.
But you can't get somebody that's been at church for 53 years.
I mean,
you should be at a certain level.
Right? You graduated from Bishop Wright University, so it's gonna be hard to get on you.
You know, so I mean, and I got this discernment, so my spirituality ain't locked into that building, man. We supposed to be out here, man. We supposed to be making a difference in people's lives. Every conversation we had with somebody should make them better. I should be able to bring you some new information every time I see you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and if you ain't got the time to do it, hey, man, during my spare time, bro, I was working on Chat GPT. Check this out, Chug. Hey, man, Chat GPT showed me this right here. What's coming down on the future, man, on the AI segment, man. These people about to lose some jobs, man.
And I'm going to put something, I'm going to stick something to your statement you just said. I was judging a young lady, and she made, I can't remember the name of her computer. It wasn't Helen. I can't remember the name. But, man, she had that computer, and she said, Chat GPT, and everybody just let that go by. But it was older people, 70. The other judges were 70 plus, and they didn't know nothing about it. So I was able to pause, right? Because I've been hanging with Sean, and I really don't know too much about GPT. But Sean been talking about it every day. So I was able to pause and ask her questions and have her elaborate what that is for the other judges. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly, if I hadn't been hanging with you, it would have went past me too. Yeah, but because you locked into that and you schooling me.
You got a lot of Fortune 500 companies that don't even that's not utilizing this new technology. This new technology is coming so swift, man. I mean, you got people that adjusted their 20 and their 30-year plans now to a 5-year plan, man, of exiting more employees off the job, man. You know, Amazon just got rid of 11,000 people. You know, Walmart closing some main stores in Chicago, and we our own detriment because we give them a switch to whoop us with. So now instead of work, because the Bible says if a man don't work, he shouldn't eat. Okay, so now we ain't working, so now we taking. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
We, you know, back in the day, you know, I used to tell some of the good guys in the hoods, you know, I said, man, y'all ain't stealing because stealing is sneaking. You going in there taking stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
These younger people don't care. They got no moral compass.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care if your mama in the way, your grandmama, they'll push her down. They're going to her purse. See, we had a moral compass. And so it ain't the fact that we when the Bible said train up a child, well, the training ain't even there. Ain't no training.
Ain't no training. Sleep at the wheel.
Train up a child.
2008, we was leaving the city building. I said, Sean, it's leadership. And they sleep at the wheel. He said, no.
See, I ain't gonna step on nobody toes.
Yeah. That was 2008.
Hey.
I think 2009 or early 2010, I got a phone call from you. And you gonna sleep about 9:30.
Hey,
I got a phone call about 11 o'clock. You said, Herbert's leadership, they sleep at the wheel.
After my 50th young man that got killed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I cut his hair as a baby. Dad, mom, grandma bring him here. And now, you know, at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, I'm on Facebook trying to find a picture to put on an obituary for him.
And I'll tell you this.
I'm frustrated.
I don't want to get too far into this, but I do want to say it publicly. For years, I've been saying that, Sean, they need you or they need us more than we need them. University, the city, because as a leader, looking into the future, I told you the Uber driver, I had them two rich millionaires and I picked them up in Uber and they were talking about the Asian lady that only wanted to stay at one of their properties. They had 11 different properties. And she only said, I'll stay at this one. Wanted her daughter to stay at this one because she was looking at the gun violence on the internet. And this was 4 or 5 years ago. And so it was then that I realized, man, they can't do this by themselves.
Right.
They need people who have relationships with the community.
So when you look at a organization or corporation that at that magnitude, man, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Period.
Right. It all once you finish all the smoke in the room, it's about dollars, bro.
That's it.
You know, and as I'm learning more about the curriculum, as I'm learning more about what professors' roles are and tenure and all of these different things, and they writing these papers to be able to get paid. It's about money, man.
I seen a lady from the U of I yesterday, and I know she was there to do her dissertation at AXO.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
She's I'm not saying she didn't care about the kids, but her bottom line for being there is to use that data to help her with her dissertation.
Come on, man, to write that paper, man.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm like,
and Lord forbid they put your stuff in the Wall Street Journal. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about what Minister Hunt would say. You dancing for your supper. See, and so and you're dancing for your supper.
I gotta hold that one. You dancing for your supper.
Dancing for your supper, and too many people are dancing for their supper, right? So that means your next meal.
Yeah.
But as ownership, the ownership that we have, we can be selective on what suppers we want to dance for.
That's right.
And if they fit our moral compass, we can tell you keep it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, just keep it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I thank God for the power and the ability to have that, because I don't take it for granted. And so I thank the Lord for that. But I'm constantly learning a new way. I'm constantly trying to find out a new stream. So like I'm waiting on 5 o'clock to jump on because the Forex market opened up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I knew this information 20, 30 years ago that you help open the door for me, you know, and by sitting down somewhere, see, a lot of us we so busy doing a lot of nothing. That ain't gonna pan out.
The old folks said we so busy doing church work, we can't do the work of the church.
Ain't that something, man? I mean, and man, you put me in a great place. And I remember I was on this radio program and I said it one Sunday morning. I said, look, man, if I went ahead and I said, Jesus, come on, man, why don't you go to church with me today? And I said, Jesus, come on, man, no, Jesus, man, we finna get in this belly, bro. You gonna get in the back, bro. You gonna sit in the back. You sit in the comfortable seat back here with the chauffeur at. You know, let me chauffeur you. I take you to church and we ride around and we get to the church. We get to the parking lot. You see the parking lot ministry. He said, what is that all about? Well, you know, Jesus, check it out, man. People get robbed in churches and in parking lot now, man. So we need parking lot security and ministry out here, man. But it's the parking lot ministry. We walk in there, we run into the greeters. What is, whoa, who is all those people? Well, it's the greeters ministry. You know, this the greeters ministry. You know, we get past that, we go back there. Jesus say, hey man, I need to stop in the restroom. Well, you know, hey man, you got somebody in the restroom, and you know, they probably, you know, for a donation, you get some mints and cologne. We got a head in there, you know what I'm saying? So then, I mean, you know, that's part of the, you know, that's part of the pastor's aid.
Either Ed or Little Ed.
Right. So then
Little Ed colder than Ed.
We walk in the back, you know, and Jesus said, man, I smell something good back there, man. You know, hey, that's the culinary ministry. That's the culinary ministry that's going down. Then Jesus sat in there, we sat in there. He's like, oh Lord, I thought, man, we got somewhere else to roll in a minute, man. We've been here, man, we going on 3 hours. You see what I'm saying? And then once I sit down and do the after action report that we know about in the military, Jesus, what you think? And Jesus come back and say, we didn't do anything that was part of the plan of kingdom building. We had more focus on everything else. Now, I'm not saying some of them things don't need to be in place.
Yes, sir.
But you cannot get your eyes off the ball because the proof is in the pudding. Because if kids are dying at alarming rates, that means that the work of the church is not getting done properly.
Can I share something with you, man? My average sermon is 30, no more than 45, 50 minutes. And I just realized on this show, talking to you, why I preached 110 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes. Because God was speaking to me. God was speaking to me through the message. And I didn't want him to stop. That's a revelation. Because I was sitting here listening to you, and he was speaking to me then. And so I thought you were saying they was waiting, Jesus waited so long because culinary was waiting for him to pay for his meal. But man, let me tell you something. We're so busy doing church work that we can't do the work of the church. Sean, I have never in my life been as excited as I am about pastoring New Freehold Baptist Church. And the reason I am, because I got the vision. And I've been had a vision for over 20 years. And the vision is going to confound the wise. The people who think they educated and smart and this and that and God this, God going to blow the doors off New Free Will. And everything that I'm speaking now is going to come to pass. From the gyms to the banks to the old folks' home, all the ministries that this church is going to have. By the time I got to get off the scene, that's when it's going to just be warming up. But I'm fine with that. I'm fine with us raising the children. You know, Easter blew my mind, man. We had about 40 kids there. And I went home and said, man, I don't care if your adults don't come to church. Send your kids. Let me equip your kids to turn this madness around. Because it's going to be hard to turn it around with people my age. So I'm not attracted to people my age. I'm really not. I don't care if they ever, I don't mean it like that, but I'm not going to fret if they don't come through the doors. Who I really want to come through the door is 18 to 40, because they the ones that going to turn this situation around. Folks my age scared. Not all of them, but they stuck in their ways, right? And they're fine with not getting commission.
So
based on your subject you talked about.
So let's get biblical, right? So, and Dr. Miles Monroe. So when the children, you helped me through this. So when the children of Egypt was led by Moses to go to the promised land, right? They was 40 miles from the promised land. 40 miles. But they walked around in circles for 40 years.
40, yeah.
And that was the old folk grumbling and complaining. And Pharaoh would have treated us better. Take us back. Let us go back. They ready to go back into slavery. See, they stuck.
They stuck.
So what? And they so used to miracles. God wasn't finna give him another miracle. Because you weren't grateful for where he had already brought you. He had already showed you miracles. You had seen all the miracles. But see, we get so comfortable with somebody else doing the work. We don't even want to put our own work in.
No.
So we didn't download the spirit, because it's a spirit.
It's the spirit.
And we downloading the spirit to the kids.
My Lord.
And so now the kids don't want to put no work in. They don't want to do no heavy lifting. So now we have AI come on the scene and say, you know what? You don't even got to do the heavy lifting no more. Matter of fact, we don't even need you. We got a computer that's talking to another computer. So now when you go into the store, Schnucks, County Market, Walmart, if you even get to have a Walmart in your area,
my Lord,
because we gave them an excuse to get the Walmart out of inner cities of Chicago. Now they'll be messing around in inner cities of low performing Walmarts in other cities. Because we can do bigger, smaller is what they're gonna get to.
That's what they're gonna get to.
See what I'm saying? Because the whole thing about interest rates and all this stuff with the Fed secretary is all about downsizing. But we got to be able to put out more production with smaller facilities.
Yes, sir. Yes,
see what I'm saying? A smaller lineup. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just getting to that point, brother. And so we have to be, when you take on a leadership role, and I will say this here, a lot of people want the mic. A lot of people don't want the mic. And a lot of people, will wish to be in your position, to have a church, to be in charge, to folk to tell folk what to do and this, that, and other. But that's a grave responsibility.
Oh, it's crazy.
Because of the fact that you're responsible now for my spiritual growth and my physical growth. Now, a lot of people don't want to take on that responsibility because my lifestyle should be changing because I'm looking at a living example of what Christ looked like.
That's right.
Or what it should be.
It's powerful, man.
And so, but if you've been in the same place for 30, 40 years, you ain't grew. Y'all ain't bought no property on the block. You see what I'm saying? You ain't bought no property on the block. You ain't made no impact. Matter of fact, more gun violence going on in the neighborhood.
That's it.
You can't help nobody with one night of a hotel room for a burnt out family. You can't clothe nobody. What are you doing? I'm like what was it, my man name up in Father Flager?
Father Flager, yeah. Take the cross down.
Because you
false flag. Father Flager said he false flag up there.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me
because he's seen so much, bro.
Let me slip this in. Because you hit me on and I'm cool, I'm calm, and I'm collected right now because I'm feeding God is using this conversation to feed me for real. Like I'm growing even as we have this conversation. And you keep speaking in my neighborhood. As a 20-year military guy in war, we didn't have time for foolishness. And so I got PTSD. And part of my PTSD is I don't like a lot of foolishness. And what God is dealing with me right now on is being able to tolerate foolishness as a pastor. Because what you said, you just knocked me in the head and didn't know. Moses, the foolishness called him to snap on the people when God told him to speak to the people. Instead of him speaking to the people, he smoked the rock. He snapped. And because he snapped, he did not get to step foot on the promised land. All that work he did. And he saw the promised land, but he didn't get to step foot on it. And so it's frustrating having the vision, knowing the vision, but people ain't moving quick enough for it.
Because most of us don't even know that it's a war going on. You know, it's a war going on. I mean, when you look at a global perspective, and we teach this to the kids, you know, always, I mean, because that's biblical right there, always abounding, you know what I'm saying, watching and praying, this and that, but you need to be looking at things at a global perspective. And when you see what China's talking about doing, and you see them mobilizing on the shorelines of Taiwan, and you see what the United States is doing, really, we already in a technical war.
Yes, sir.
And he who owns the artificial intelligence technology gonna run the world. The dollar, the U.S. dollar is declining at a record level. At a record level. You know what I'm saying? And so as we're learning more of this information, we don't even know that life like we know it's gonna change a lot for Americans. You see what I'm saying? But see, the people that's getting money, they get money around the world.
Right.
And it's part of the bigger plan as far as one world government. That's right. One world currency.
The dollar has to crumble for them to bring
in the new currency. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so when you start learning, you start putting the dots together. But you got to be able to learn how to operate in this new society because it ain't going to be no middle. It's going to either get it or you don't.
That's it.
And then most of us we always like operating in lack and depending on the government. But what's going to happen when the government say we're not sending no checks out? We don't got checks to send out. And you now who dances for their supper now? What do we got to do to go get money?
It's a scripture that came to me when you was talking. It said, man, the devil gonna fool everybody. The Bible says the only one that he ain't gonna fool is the very elect. The Bible said, if it were possible, even the very elect would be fooled. So, man, if you're not locked in, my message today was locked in cop.
Yeah, because what you talked about, what you talked about is you don't like chaos. You don't like ignorance and stuff like that. You know, buffoonery. You know what I'm saying? But buffoonery's in. You know, it's in style now. It you know, a lot of the cats, you know, I mean, the influencers, we talked about influence, NBA Youngboy and all these other different guys. And I know a lot of us are holding this, we don't even want to tap in, but you need to find out what your kids listening to.
Paul hung out with them.
But see, because you gotta be able to speak their language. You know, in order
the message today,
what you talked about,
1 Corinthians 9.
I'm gonna take that what you said today. You said each one teach one, but you gotta reach one.
That's right.
But in order to reach one, you gotta speak the language.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? You can't shun away from the language because you can't say it the way I say it. You know, I can tell the young cat, hey man, look, bro, what is you doing out here, man? Move around.
What you on?
What you on?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, man? And he's like, oh, okay, well, he know my language.
Johnny, what are you doing, man? Look.
Stick him up. This is what we do.
Put your hands up.
Dump your pocket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what happened, you know, because they look at they praying on the weed. And so that's what's happening. That's why they going in 300-400 deep, like a pack of animals, because they know that it's power. See, this is the crazy part of what the devil will do for us. Now we'll get on social media, tell 400 people meet down on Michigan Avenue,
Lord have mercy,
on Michigan Avenue to go break laws, break windows, tear up stuff. But we won't call 400 people to come learn some information.
My Lord.
We won't call 400 people to come put some money together so we can own some property down there on Michigan Avenue.
Right.
Let's go buy some lakefront property.
Right now, let's go cop it.
You know what I'm saying? We won't pull together so we can go get the Marriott and the Fairfield that's being auctioned off over here. We can't come together as a Christian community to do that. To now make meaningful change in our community, trajectory change, generational change. Now we employing people that's in the congregation. Now we can say, hey, look, check this out. We got 2 janitor slots open. We got 2 housekeeping slots open. We got 2 maintenance slots open. And now we feeding the people. And now I'm throwing this to you, Brother Hood. So once you start getting it rolling, I'm gonna tell you one way that nobody could not come in your church. You pay them to come. Because once you become a member of this church over here, we investing.
We investing in our people.
We investing in our people. So we own the block.
You all in 2 Corinthians 9 chapter. How y'all tripping on me? And how y'all saying I don't know what I'm doing and I'm investing? I invested in y'all. The reason y'all moving the way y'all move is because I invested. Now you gonna tell me I'm not an investor? How y'all gonna tell me I'm not investing? I invested in y'all. Y'all are the very read the book, 2 Corinthians 9 chapter. Y'all are the very reason that I'm an investor. I got the name investing because I invested on y'all. And y'all got the nerve to tell me I ain't no investor. Man,
can you imagine? Can you imagine the relief that you will give a family if they signed up for your church? They've been going for, say you got to have a 3-year commitment that you have been going faithfully. You've been paying your tithes, whatever the case it is. Then you get bumped up into this program where we now tenure you in and tenure you in like the university call it, and now you get your first dividend check is every 3 months you get $250, you get $500, you know, whatever your investment was, you get you $1,500 every 3 months from the church.
Look like I need to put you in charge of finances
every 3 months. You see what I'm saying? And the kicker part about it, God then gave us everything we need.
Everything we need is in the house.
Because I just talked to Teddy brother, you know, he handles payroll. He handles payroll for multi-million-dollar companies. You see what I'm saying? He got it all around us. But we don't tap in and we don't get what you said, locked and loaded. We don't get locked and loaded what's already around us.
And 5 o'clock, you waiting on the
4X.
6 o'clock, I'll be teaching financial literacy in Rand 2. And what I liked about the way we started off, and even though you're in Champaign-Urbana and I'm in Rand 2, our classes ain't just financial literacy.
Oh no, it's Bible class.
And that's why it was important to have some ministers. That's why it was important. Don't rush us, man. We got time. Yeah. We got 5 minutes, man. And so that's a military. And so that's why it was important for us to have some men of God teaching, you know, yourself, William Kyles, Elder Hunt, because even though the subject is financial literacy, man, we teaching life skills.
Yeah.
And so it goes even deeper than money.
Yeah.
And so these students that stick with it. I mean, even accountability. I have one student, they having a big barbecue for prom and all that today. So he texted me and said, hey, I just want to be accountable. He's 16 years old. I won't be there today. We having a big barbecue. But he was accountable. I talked about accountability. If you ain't gonna be here, you need to be accountable. And so when you see the people using the things that you taught, you equip them with, man, that's what Paul said, man, I invested in y'all. What you mean I ain't no investor? I invested in y'all.
And so I mean, just with the group chats that we got going on with our adult group, that we got going on. I mean, if you guys want to get a part of either one of our programs, I know folks that's up in Rand 2, I tell them about Hub's Place all the time up there, you know. So if you want to get invested and start investing with us, man, hit me up 217-202-9256. One thing that's starting to happen on the horizon, you know, that these things are starting to cost. And so we got a lot of stuff that's going to start costing here in a little bit. So, but why it's free, you better go and holler at me, because that free window is slowly getting closed. So, hey, I thank you very much, Brother Hub. I appreciate the conversation today, man. I love you, man. Thanks for the invite. Thanks to WEFT and its board of directors and the station manager for allowing us an opportunity to speak freely up there at the radio station. Please send your donations down here to help us out at WEFT to keep us going down here, because hey, the power bill ain't free. And so help us out. Help us out down here at WEFT, man. You can always give us a call down here at 359-9338. That's 217-359-9338. We got another air shifter that's going to come take over from the Hub. Last words.
New free world on the move. New Free Will on the Move. Thank you. Peace and God bless.
All right, we out. We out. Thank you very much. Love you guys. Open the CD here.
Yeah, this is young Tim's theme. So why don't we hear a little bit of it?
Might as well.
CD one.
Yeah. I guess it's running. Slide it up. Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Thank
So
you, man.
somebody's got a brother out in California.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah. He's working on the Poor People's Campaign out there.
that's Ted. Yeah.
Tate?
Ted.
Ted.
Theodore. Amazing guy. Now he's retired from the, he worked with College of Harris for 15 years. He's retired from the union.